Welcome. In this section, we would be focusing on one of the sections from applied psychology, and that talks about the application of psychology into various fields. Now, this applied psychology is one of your complete papers for UPSC, and therefore it becomes really important to discuss. So, here we would be focusing on the concept of psychology of telling lies. So, we would be focusing on the causes, the specific personality types where it is witnessed, how it affects the mental behavior and the brain cells, and finally we'll be talking about the remedies for the same. So for either of these things we need to understand why actually a person speaks lies. So there are 9 specific reasons which have been cited about why a person usually tells lie. So understand these very carefully. If you are in a situation where there is a conflict and you want to avoid that situation, or you feel that the consequences of the situation can be dire, in that circumstances a person can speak lie. The other is to lighten the mood. Now lighten the mood simply means making oneself comfortable in the social surroundings, so it acts as a social lubricant, and just for the sake of relaxation a person speaks a blunt lie. The next is in a situation where the person feels they are trapped into a difficulty, they want to protect themselves, then there can be a condition where lie comes up. Sometimes it so happens that person wants to protect a close near and dear one who is or into some problem, and at that point of time the person speaks lie. Also, if there is a feeling, now this happens especially with children, that they like they want others to like them, and therefore just to be a good person they speak lie. Sometimes the lie can be very vicious, that means that is to hurt others. Okay, if there has been a lie which has been told before, just to cover that lie there is another lie, so 1,000 lies on top of another, that's what is a famous proverb, and therefore this is another situation. Sometimes it so happens that person wants to prove their side. Now to prove their own side, what would happen? They want to establish that they are correct by all means, and therefore they tell a complete reverse story, and that is a lie. The next is to gain some kind of benefit which they can actually acquire. Now these situations or these conditions usually drive a person towards lie, but behind all this there are 4 major things that work. One is a fear. Now this fear could be of anything. This fear could be for a child, it could be a parent, for a person who has done a theft it could be police. So there is some kind of fear, or there could be a social fear, a social stigma that could come. So fear. The second is punishment. Getting afraid of punishment, a person does not speak up the truth. The third is if there is a conflict that arises. And the fourth important reason is rejection. The person feels that the person is not accepted within the territory. It could be the territory of home, class, school, or the workplace. So whenever there is a feeling that I am not part of this system and feels rejected, isolated, dejected, in that case this lie can come up. So these are the 4 principal factors that would affect the lie. Now what happens once the person speaks lie or starts to speak lie? There are again 2 important things. One is the person starts to lose the self-esteem, because they feel that if I have already spoken, that's fine and there was no penalty on it. So they lose the self-esteem, they lose their self-worth, and both of them again impacts their mental health. So this could again result in a feeling of guilt, a feeling of anxiety, or a feeling of isolation. Sometimes when the situations go worse, there is the trust breakdown and miscommunication that occurs. Now what personality types are usually susceptible to telling a lie frequently, and in what kind of personality disorders this is usually manifested. So the first one is antisocial personality, a person who always goes against the society, and in that process there is frequent lies that the person would speak. The next is a borderline personality disorder, where the person is always confused between the right and the wrong. The next one is very, very important, and this is histrionic personality disorder. Now, histrionic personality disorder is a classic behavior which is manifested with children, and that is an attention seeking behavior. Just to gain the attention of the near and dear ones, the person starts to do some kind of lie making activity, and this is a histrionic personality disorder. And then under factious disorder also, where there is a fine border between the truth and the false that exists in the mind of an individual, it occurs. But in all these cases, how this can be resolved is again important. So cognitive behavior therapy is one very, very important aspect, where the psychologist can just sit with a person, help understand the real issue, ask them to do certain behavior modifications, and see how it brings changes, how it removes the fear and the fear of punishment as well from the mind. The next is dialectic behavior or medication that could be given in extreme cases. But whenever there is the act of lie that undergoes, there are changes in the neural networks of an individual. Now this affects the prefrontal cortex of the brain, and 3 of the neurotransmitters are actually modulating those dishonest behavior. Those are dopamine. So a person can just do it for lightening the mood, as we said, right? To lighten the mood as a social lubricant. So they would feel they have a higher amount of dopamine getting secreted, a higher amount of serotonin and oxytocin secreted. So what could be a way to resolve this is another important question. There are 2 important things that could be done to resolve this issue. One is the willingness to change and make the person or drive the person to that edge that they are ready to go for the change. The second is openness, talking about the issue and realizing that there is a lie that needs to be ruled out. And the third important is reflection or self introspection. So understanding why I did so, what was the circumstance, was it a situational ethics? If the situation had been something different, would I have done it or would I have not done it? So making sure that was the situation so dire that I was left with no other option but to take this step, right? So this, therefore, self-reflection helps us understand the situational ethics and provide the candidate with various options and various situations and see what could be the act in the different situations, and then help them understand how to rule about it. So those are some of the important aspects that we have discussed. Now this was just one of the topics that we have picked up in psychology. There are many such topics that we would be discussing, and of course for your upcoming examinations there can be many case studies and research papers that can be cited, and most of the topics that we have covered, we have included the recent researches and the developments for your sake, so don't miss those in the study material. This could actually help you gain good marks in your examination. Wish you very good luck.